Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Angela. So I've done a few videos today, and I'm out of breath, sorry. Just ran from the house to outside. It's 7:57 p.m. Finally got the right lighting outside to be able to do a video. But my neighbors are all out doing things, and I decided to go ahead and I've been tossing and turning over doing this tag for a while, but it is the hashtag formative decks. I know Kasha from Tarot Map did it with somebody else. I don't know who that was. I forgot, but I've seen a lot of them because there's a lot. I just watched Allie Saylor from Fathom 5 Tarot do hers recently, and I wasn't going to do it because I haven't been doing tarot. I've been doing tarot 2 years last month, so to me, there's not that much. There's not a long line of formative decks. I do have 5, 1, 2, 3, 6 decks that I found were very significant so far in my tarot journey. And before I lose any more light, we're going to get right into it. So the first one is the Tarot Illuminati. When I first started doing my tarot journey, I bought the Radiant Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Could not work with it. Still don't. I thought I could never read tarot. And then this deck entered my life. It is essentially a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. And if I get to it, because I didn't pull the card out, I suddenly was like, what is happening? I know what this means. And look at this World card. Gorgeous. Tower card. Gorgeous. Trying to find it. The High Priestess. The Fool. Where are you? I feel like I'm in the bottom. I pulled this card and suddenly I was like, Chariot. And the Strength. Ace of Swords is gorgeous. This is a beautiful, beautiful deck. And it gets a bad rap. But I love it. Death card is phenomenal. But this was the deck I learned tarot on. Look at this Hermit. And this Eight of Swords. Gorgeous. Where are you? At the bottom, of course. This is the card I pulled. The Three of Swords. I've talked about it many, many times. Suddenly I was able to read it, and I was getting more than just the 3 swords and the heart in that card. I was getting the storm and the turbulence and the thunderstorm and the lightning. And then I heard a voice say, this will pass. Your rainbow is coming. And I was like, what is happening? So this kind of opened up my intuitive abilities as well as really fully diving in and understanding the tarot with this card. As soon as I was open to that card, the rest of the deck was easy to read. And so, yeah, that will always hold a special place in my heart because of that. At the time, I still hadn't learned. I started buying decks. My very next deck, the Light Seers Tarot, this is my soul deck. I will talk about it forever. This is the mass market version. This is the backs. This deck I bought right after the Illuminati. I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy another deck because I know how to read them now. And then it's the second I bought this, I could read it. It was literally like coming home. Being away from a best friend that you hadn't seen in a long time. And you just picked right up where you left off. And what I love about this deck is that I don't read reversals for this reason, because very early on in my tarot journey, I learned that you can see the dark side and the light side of a card, whether it's upright or reversed or whatever. That's what this deck taught me right off the bat, is that you can see the light and dark aspect of things at the same time. If it's meant to be dark, it will read dark, regardless of what position the card is in. And I love that about this deck. And again, this deck is like the best friend I never knew I had or needed. It will tell you things, but it will do it in a gentle manner. And I love it. And I'm not going to show too many more because everybody's got this deck. Because it's fantastic. And I did edge it in like this teal to match the backs. So that is my light Seers. And that's what it taught me. Just this duality. With the darkness comes light. Always. So then I bought, and I just did a video of my tarot spread episode with this deck, Tarot the Secret Forest. I bought this deck because I saw it on Tara from Kittens, Weights, and Tarot channel. It's got a dark black and white side and then a light side, colored side. And I'm like, oh, this will be cool for doing shadow work on this side and light work on this side. No. What I found was this is a dark deck. Regardless of what side you read it on. Regardless if you want a happy, sweet reading, this is not the deck for you. It pulled all this darkness out that I was not ready for. But I love it for that reason, because it taught me how to be comfortable with the darkness and how to navigate it, and how to not be afraid of it. Not be afraid to dive deep into the dark parts of my mind, the dark parts of my subconscious, and pull it out and deal with it. And that's what this deck taught me. It was just like, I'm not ready for you. But at the same time, it's like, yes, you are. You're ready. You have the strength. You are the Chariot, because my soul card is the Chariot. So you have every capability of surviving me. It's basically what this deck said. And now it's one of my favorites. And I love it. So that is the Tarot of the Secret Forest. It is a dark fairy deck. Like I said, if you don't want your truth or your darkness to be shown and brought out to you, don't buy it. But this is the other reason. I've talked about this card many times. This deck also helped me realize why I decided to start learning tarot. Because I am a medium, and I was so fearful of everything I was seeing, feeling, hearing, even tasting, smelling. Because when I first decided I am a medium, I'm going to open up all my gifts. They all opened up at once, it seemed like. And I had an influx of feelings, thoughts, emotions. All the clairs were like pinging off each other. It was crazy. And I'm like, I can't handle this. Because I still was questioning, is this real? And then I had a mediumship reading where I had a vision of exactly this picture. And this before I had really looked through this deck and seen this card. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. So it made me realize a lot of things. Like, I'm not afraid of the dark stuff. And I'm not afraid of it anymore. But it also made me realize the stuff you're seeing is real. Don't discount what you're seeing, what you're being sent. And that's one of the reasons why the Bone Stone and Earthflesh Tarot is another formative deck for me. Because it took, just like with the Tarot Illuminati was my first deck. The Light Seers took that deck to another level, to a higher plane of existence for me. The Bone Stone did the same thing for the Tarot of the Secret Forest, because it's a mediumistic kind of deck for me. And I'm like, well, maybe that was just a one-off thing. And then I just randomly pulled from this card for somebody, for someone that they were wanting a mediumship reading. And as soon as I pulled this card, all this stuff came out clairvoyantly, and it was all correct. And I was like, So, and this to me has a lot of the same. This is my second favorite deck ever because it has a lot of the same energy as my Light Seers. It's the only two decks I have that, if I were just stranded on a deserted island, I could only have those two. They would be it because they have the same energy, but not quite. This one to me would be more of a medium ship read also. Cardstock is amazing. I keep forgetting that, how good it is, and then I touch it, and then the gilding is amazing. But yeah, I saw this card, and all this clairvoyant stuff started happening, and I'm like, okay, so it reaffirmed why I learned tarot, because I am a medium. I had no interest in reading tarot ever, even as I was trying to open up my abilities. And I just love Anatorian's artwork. This is just phenomenal deck. And the book by Evelyn Cameron, yeah, I'm trying to learn to write like that. It's phenomenal. But one day in April of 2 years ago, now I keep forgetting we're past April. But one day in April 2 years ago, I woke up, and all of a sudden I literally woke up with the need to buy a tarot deck, and I couldn't figure out why. Didn't care to know why. I was like, that's just stupid. I don't need a tarot deck. And then it just kept nagging at me and nagging at me and nagging at me. And the more it nagged, the more I was almost hyperventilating to the panic stricken that I did not have a tarot deck. Couldn't figure out why. Well, this deck is the reason that woke me up and made me realize the reason why you're buying tarot decks and why you're having this journey right now with tarot is because you are a medium and you are refusing to do what you're supposed to do. Open your gifts, do what you're supposed to be doing. You're afraid of it right now. You don't trust yourself. So maybe if you learn tarot and learn the structure, because there is a certain structure to tarot, then when you won't be so fearful. And then, like I said, one day it just was like, hey, why don't you do a mediumship reading with us, with this deck? Actually, this deck and this deck. I'm like, why? That sounds absurd. And it went off without a hitch both times. And the light bulb went off that moment. I realized this is why I was learning tarot, because it was getting me over my fears of all the things I was seeing, hearing, feeling. It was getting me over all of the fear and just learning to trust myself. And the tarot was the way to do it because it was so structured, and I'm a Virgo and I like things in an orderly fashion. And this was why I had to learn tarot. And I feel like, and I've said it since the beginning, and I didn't know why, but now I do. From the beginning, it was like, you're going to learn tarot for right now. That doesn't mean that I will be reading tarot in the future. It's teaching me how to trust my mediumship side of things through tarot. And I wholeheartedly feel since the beginning of this started, since the light bulb moment went off of why I'm learning tarot, that I won't be doing tarot forever. Because it's a stepping stool. And I always said, I started off trying to be way up here when I should have been starting way down here with the mediumship part of it. So now with tarot is a step in that rung in that ladder to get me to where I was trying to be at the beginning. So I found that really awesome. And I love it now. And then the next deck I have, it is an RWS deck. It's the 2.0 tarot. This deck is gorgeous. And it's hilarious because I had no interest in RWS at all. After that first deck, I'm like, no, RWS is stupid. I don't understand it. I don't get it. And the backgrounds in this, the coloring in this is amazing. And I think I need to buy me another deck because look at that Empress. The sky is fantastic. The full, I love this deck. If I could only have one RWS deck, this would be it. I have like 4 or 5 now, but this is the deck that catapulted me into realizing, oh my gosh, I can read RWS decks. They just have to have a certain type of coloring. Because that first one, no. This one I bought, it was like nagging at me. It's on Make Playing Cards still. You can buy it. I think it's like $28, $32, something like that. And I bought this deck and I'm like, I don't know why I'm buying it. I'm never going to read with it. It's an RWS deck. I got it in the mail. I was like, oh wow, they're beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful colors. And I had it for about 3 days before I heard like a nagging voice saying, you know what, take it to work. I'm like, all right, whatever. I take it to work. About 11:30, my lunchtime is at noon. About 11:30, I hear a nagging voice saying, you know what, at lunch, pull a card with it. And I'm like, why? I was fighting every step of the way. But I did what I was told, and the second I pulled a card, it was an instant connection to this deck. And I'm like, oh my god, I can read it. And I had just basically let my ego sit on the sidelines in that moment. It was like I was fighting until that moment. And then it was like everything clicked, just like with the Illuminati, where I was like, I can't read tarot. And then all of a sudden something clicked, and I had set my ego aside long enough to get that glimpse, that moment of connection. And then that way, and it's been smooth sailing ever since. Now I still don't read with that first deck, but I can read with all the other RWS decks I have. And they're phenomenal and gorgeous. And beautiful. Last deck. So fast forward to this year, because this was these two were last year. And the other 3 were, well, this was the very first week of January of 2020. So I don't really count it as 2020 deck. But the other ones I bought in 2019. Then I bought these in 2020. And then this year I've been buying all these deep decks. And I'm like, why? Again, I'm always questioning why. And then I got this deck. I ordered it. Actually, it was a Kickstarter. I did not back the Kickstarter because I had no interest in this deck. I'm like, oh, the backs are cute. The edging is to die for. The backs are gorgeous. But other than that, I don't need the deck. I don't have no interest in it. And then it went on pre-order after the Kickstarter. Still didn't want it. I seen walkthroughs of it. Didn't care. Didn't care. And then January 1st hit. And I had, actually maybe the week or so before that, like the week of after Christmas, the day after Christmas, hit. And I just kept hearing a voice, you need to buy it, 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 you need to buy it. And I'm like, I don't want it. And it was just like with every other tarot deck that I've tried to not buy. There's a reason why I had to buy this deck. So January 1st, I was like, to get this voice to shut up, I bought the deck. Got it 4 days later, and the second I got it in my hands and looked at it, I knew this year is all about taking a deep, I've skimmed the surface of what I've experienced with tarot. This deck is there to help me go pull back another layer and dive even deeper than what I already know. And let me tell you, it has rocked my world. It's blown my mind and rocked my world at the same time. It is there is, to me, no emotion with this deck. It is very matter of fact, but not in a harsh way. There's just no set emotion. It's more like a textbook or workbook to get more in depth with tarot. And that's where I'm at right now. And that's why I think every deck I bought this year, except for the ones I just did a walkthrough on, every deck I bought this year has made me feel this way. It's made me feel something. Even though, to me, this is not an emotional type of deck. It's so gorgeous. And the cardstock is amazing. And the keywords are just gorgeous. And just, I was so shocked by this deck. I've cried with this deck. I don't show emotion. There's the Fool. Look at that. And that's one of the reasons why I was like, this is why I needed this deck, because it has brought me to tears. And I don't cry. I'm not an emotional person. I'm very analytical. And even though this deck is very unemotional, I love those sunflowers. Even though this deck is so unemotional, it brings out the emotions that I need to be bringing out of me to the surface. And I love it for that. Love it. This is one of my top 5 decks ever. And I said that as soon as I got it, it was quickly, within the first week, it was quickly becoming one of my top 5 favorite decks. And it is. It is firmly in top 5 right now. But I love it. Every time I do a reading with this, it's just mind-blowing. And it is more of a pippish deck on some spots. But the energy of this deck is just like, I can't even explain it. It to me resonates at a higher frequency than any other deck I have, which is crazy. It's this deeper level of things, and I love it for that. I don't have any. I do have some pip decks, which to me they're not formative yet because I really haven't worked with them yet. So to me, those are the formative decks that really has shaped where I'm at right now in the last 2 years. So yeah, that is my formative decks. That's all I have to say. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification button so you're alerted to any future videos. And you guys have a wonderful night. Bye.